I would love to ask Michael Povey, who was kind enough to get up in the middle of the night. He's located in Western Australia, to get up in the middle of the night to join us here for this event, so he can tell us what's going on with Gold Basin. Michael, please take it away.
Thanks very much, Gwen. I appreciate it. Yeah, I guess Gold Basin, there's our board as it currently stands. I'm actually a mining engineer. Charles is the geological side. John Robbins, many of you will know, is the chairman. So we've got a good, strong board. And we're also a member of the Discovery Group, which many of you, of course, in Canada will know very, very well. So we're pretty happy about that. And I think we've had some strong support already with regard to our project. I think pretty certain we'll have a lot stronger support over this next year as we're progressing. Right, so we're situated in northern Arizona, northwest Arizona. We're about 70 miles as the crow flies from Vegas. Infrastructure all around us. The main highway is only sort of 5 kilometers away from it. The 330 kVA line runs across the top of the lease, in fact. So, you know, infrastructure-wise and access-wise, we really couldn't be any better. And you know, as Todd mentioned previously, you know, between Nevada and Arizona, they're, you know, regularly rated the top 1 and 2 mining jurisdictions in the world, and that includes, you know, where I'm from in Western Australia. It's still a good place to do business and to do exploration. So we've got inside that, we've got currently, this kind of fits a classic case of what this subject matter is about gold that's been known in the area and now being really looked at. Essentially, Gold Basin was an area that was mined by the classic sort of old-timer mining in the 1890s through to probably the mid-1930s. The Cyclopic deposit we're noting there and the Fry mine, which is in just at the top of that, were probably the most significant ones there. Fairly decent grades. The Fry, it turned out, was around about 18 grams a tonne, according to the local government mining engineer who visited that. And the Cyclopic was about 6 grams. But it disappeared off the radar from about 1936. And really nothing happened until the late 1980s, where a couple of companies had a look. Obviously gold price was not fantastic then, but they didn't really have too much of a plan. A number of shallow holes were drilled in the Cyclopic deposit, really looking for some extensions of a small pit there. And really, they were sort of every which way, probably couldn't take too much from it. Even though there was probably 500 holes, there really wasn't a clear pattern of what was going on. But from that point on, for the last sort of 20 odd years, it's been held by the claim owners. They kept the package together. They were mainly a group in New Zealand, strangely enough, until myself and Charles, and then through the Gold Basin, were able to consolidate 100% of the project area, which is normally 31 square kilometres at the moment. We've got other chunks of ground here which are currently with the BLM under application. There are areas that we've picked up, which I'll chat a little bit later, due to some of the geophysical work that we completed in 2021. Most of the current work has been concentrated on the Cyclopic deposit, mainly because there was a lot of historical drilling. As I say, we didn't really understand what structurally was going on until we really completed a program of 30 holes at the end of 2019, and then through 2021 we drilled another 103 RC holes. We also put in 6 diamond core holes as well, primarily on the case of 4 of them for some metallurgical test work, but they also have come up with some, confirming some of the structural things that we're looking at there. So what we found really was that through, as you can see there, it's pretty busy. There's this particular slide, which is not really only saying Cyclopic. You've got Fry slightly to the north, the Ring Bear deposit, which we haven't touched yet at all, and we've got these other sort of star-crosser areas. They're all the rock chip sampling that's been undertaken. I think we have a database of somewhere like 5,000 of these, if not more. And you can see these are all the touches over 1 gram. So there's a lot of area that we haven't expanded into yet, and that's going to be part of our current program. That we're going to talk about a little bit more. So what we learned from the drilling program in 2021 is the intersections that we've got this from surface layered structure. It's all oxide, nothing else in it. It's completely clean, the tiniest amount of silver, which really is almost less than the gold. And we've got this from surface, and we've only really, the average hole depth at the moment is about 90 meters. So we've got this layer upon layer. They pinch and swell, they sort of join into one another. probably hydrostatically controlled, but at the moment, we can see this is a north-south axis where we can see this continuity, because that's really where the greater density of drilling has occurred. But on the east-west axis, which is coming towards the screen and back towards the stealth, there's a lot less coverage, and they were just obvious gaps, which you know, we basically knew we had to fill in. We had enough information. There was previously a resource on this project done for an ASX, a JORC one, and this drilling we definitely could have expanded on that, but we felt, well, we got more drilling to do. There was too many obvious gaps, particularly on this east-west axis, and we had multiple targets on the ground as well, which we hadn't even touched on. Yeah, so within Gold Basin itself, you can see we've got two primary areas there. You see Cyclopic in the central region, which I've just sort of covered. We've also got the stealth. Now, the historical drilling, as you can see, has been quite a lot. We've got some good intersections, and we really, you know, it's very difficult targeting all these targets in one go. So we've really worked on the Cyclopic, in which we've got an expansion program, which is currently underway, and we've got the stealth area, where historical drilling has provided some really decent intersections. As you can see on the right there, you know, we had, you know, 45 meters over 2 grams and 62 there, you see over 1 gram. Now, all that lease there, the complete stealth target actually lies on private minerals grounds, which we've also got the surface rights to. So we've been pretty fortunate, and as such, we're able to drill that pretty quickly. And that's actually been underway in the last 2 weeks or so. We've drilled into the stealth, and we've got a little break now for some maintenance, and we'll be going back to both the stealth and the Cyclopic for the targets that you know, we've already identified. We've also got an area to the south. The area to the south, this PLM target, it's always worth in mind, almost all these areas here in blue, we've got some drill, not so much on the Cyclopic targets to the north here, but the PLM target, the stealth, a little bit to the north, we've got some drill holes, historical drill holes, which are, you know, just showing the same type of layered intersections that we've got through the Cyclopic. It's a long way from Cyclopic down to PLM target. There is, you know, some 3.5 Ks or so. And again, when you look at the drilling there, and historical drilling, it really shows the same type of flat-lying layered structures, just like we see in both the stealth and the Cyclopic to the north. So what have we been up to? In 2021, we actually did a lot, actually. Probably we managed to complete those 103 holes I mentioned, RC, plus the diamond holes. 4 of those PQ core were primarily for metallurgical test work, and that's currently with KCA. They're about halfway through the column leach test work that we commissioned. We did have some initial bottle roll tests that we announced a couple of weeks back, which showed some, you know, good recoveries, really, from essentially from up to about 86%. Nothing nasty, very low cyanide consumption in the leach, and that's sort of showing up again in the column leach. So we really expect to have some, you know, good to very good recoveries. We also completed essentially two major surveys, the aeromagnetic survey and a hyperspectral survey. That we completed those. We haven't put too much of those out because we wanted to do the full package, and that includes the IP survey, which is literally just been completed as well, and we're just waiting on the interpretation. But we found that with the hyperspectral survey that we did, it really highlighted the extra ground that we actually wanted to pick up, so identified some extra targets. So we kind of kept that internally until we actually managed to pick up that ground. And through the aeromagnetic survey that we did, which was a pretty detailed 3D model, we've generated some targets, some deeper targets on the property that we're, you know, very interested in. And the IP survey really is looking at whether these things are chargeability or not, and we've got some, you know, something at depth there which may be as interesting as what we feel is a very large oxide deposit on the Gold Basin property. So as I said just now, we've really got drill program. We started again in early January with regard to the second phase of our drilling program at Cyclopic. We've got another 100 hot holes that we've targeted, but we're pretty flexible because we're able to look at these things. We've got a large permit now in terms of where we can go. So as the results come in, we may add a bit more to Cyclopic or a bit more to stealth, but our target is actually drill both of those two projects. They're only 900 meters apart. We really don't know what's going on in between the two deposits. There's a little bit of an elevation difference, but the 900 meters in between, there's been a few holes which have intersected the same type of structures, but they're very few. I mean, literally no more than 3 or 4. So we obviously love to know what's going on between the two and whether they join or not, but certainly at the moment we've got 2 parallel deposits of similar length, similar size and scale, which are running essentially on 2 major structures, the Cyclopic fault and the Stealth fault. So, effectively we've actually completed most of all the major work that we need to, apart from the drilling. Once we're fully funded all the way through in terms of our drilling program, the met test work will be completed in the next 2 months or so. The surveys are being completed there, so as far as we're concerned, we basically just have to get on with the drilling. It's a large lateral extent, and the grade does vary, as you would expect, between these layers. But the layers seem to be reasonably consistent in terms of there are multiple layers, which sort of, let's say, pinch and swell. Grade will vary. You literally can drill 10 meters away from one hole, and you might have 3 meters at a gram, or you might have sort of 10 meters, it's a half a gram, 10 meters away. It's just what happens there. But overall, it's a large bulk deposit is what it's looking like. Looking at it internally, it really is, an operation where it's very hard to identify any real waste in the project at the moment. There is no easily definable areas. The small layers that sort of creep in between this, the small waste layers, if you like, or lowly mineralized areas between the economic mineralization, you wouldn't be able to separate out. So it's essentially going to be bulked out. If drilling shows that to be different in the future, then obviously my opinion will change. But at the moment, it's literally something right from surface, and that it's got almost zero with regard to the stripping ratio. I mean, it's literally like something like 0.4 if you was actually practically to manage it. Our major plan is that we literally just carry on drilling, keep extending the lateral extent with regard to Cyclopic, both east and west. We're going to also expand north towards the Fry Mine, which is another 400 meters to the north. And we've got this large area from Stealth, which is really similar type of lengths. We've got at least 2 kilometers within Stealth to drill. And again, it's got extensions, probably extending for at least 6 kilometers along the major Stealth fault that has really been untouched. So we've got a big area, multiple targets, and a lot of drilling to do in this next 6 months.
Thanks very much for that, Michael.